Hey guys, David Huffaker here, your OP, and just wanted to touch base. I hope you're enjoying the videos. We are coming up on goal setting season, so it's currently mid-October. Hope you guys are having a great October. Heard some great things yesterday at a event about the future of real estate and where we're going and what next year is going to look like. And so, just want to talk with you real quick about goal setting and some thoughts to put into your head as you start to plan for 2022 and beyond. At this event yesterday, there was an economic expert that I trust that predicted that 2022 will be the best year for realtors, for resale realtors, right? For us, for you guys, that we've ever seen and probably likely ever see. Just the right mix of everything coming together. And so I don't know about you, that makes me really excited. I know we're all having, or most of us are having really great years, and I really enjoyed the journey over the last few years as we've built businesses together. So I want you to put on your hat of thinking about goal setting, right, for the future. And I want to start by reading this quote out of The One Thing. I recently took a road trip and had a chance to listen to some podcasts, and was listening to the One Thing podcast, and they were interviewing Gary Keller. And this was a quote out of the One Thing book, and it said, "People do not decide their futures; they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures." I thought that was pretty impactful. I know I've read The One Thing a few times. I didn't recall that quote. So it really kind of stuck with me when they said it. And Gary goes on in that podcast. You can go check it out to talk about us being the sum of our habits. And so as we start to set goals, you think about goal setting being. I want you to think about it a little bit different. I know most years we think about how many units are we going to do, or how many what's the volume we're going to do, or what's the money that we're going to make, and what are we going to do with that? And that's all great, right? We're still going to do that. We still want to follow the models and the economic model and whatnot. We're actually going to do that in some upcoming classes, so I'll get you those dates in a minute. But I want you to think about goal setting for the future, right? We talk about thinking out to goal setting 5 years from now, and the 5 years is arbitrary, right? What we really want you to think about is, who are you going to be in life and in the future? And this doesn't have to just be about real estate. But I like to think about it from a business standpoint. Okay, where am I going? Right? Gary teases about setting mediocrity or weak goals. He says you don't ever go ask someone to marry you and say we're going to live an average life, and we're going to have an average house, and we're going to have an average kid. The goal isn't to be average, right? You want to set these big goals, right? To go out and achieve the very most that you can achieve, because that allows you to have an impact on other people's lives and on your community, on your family. When you think about in setting goals this year, as you're going through that process, I don't want you to think about immediately the 2022 numbers goals. I want you to think about where you're going, right? Where is this journey taking you? And what does that ultimately look like? We talk about setting big goals because as you grow into them, you grow into the conversations around you. And as you start to think about, what journey are you on? Are you in a place in life where 5 to 7 years from now, you're going to be looking to retire? And so you want to maybe build a business that you set up to sell. A lot of agents are doing that right now. It's a great book called The Golden Handoff, of building a real estate business for retirement and then selling it. Or maybe you're just getting started in the business, right? And in 7 years, you want to be the #1 agent in your county or in your state. Set these goals to think big about what that would look like. And then we back up, and Gary really teaches us that another quote off of that. It says, if you have big goals and you haven't achieved them yet, there's only 2 reasons you haven't achieved them yet. And that's either the actions that you take or the relationships that you're in. And so I think that's pretty important, right? If we think about the actions that we take, I say that 95% of our day is habit. Right, it's subconscious thinking. You wake up in the morning and you do the same thing. You follow the same routine. Gary jokes about you don't get in the shower and wonder what part to wash first, right? Like you scrub your head or your face, or it's this habit, right, of going through the motions. So 95% of our day is habit, and we're actually just the sum of whatever habits we create. And so as you goal set, right, some of those goals may be to create habits that are going to eventually deliver on a bigger result. And so that's where coming back and time blocking your day and getting really intentional. The time blocking is a life hack to create habits for you. And so being consistent to that schedule will create habits over time, right? Do the same thing repetitively for 66 days and it will create a habit. One way to do that really is to think about the 6 personal perspectives, right? So I know we're covering a lot here. And so I'm just trying to think about from a spiritual standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint. What are those mini goals within each one of those buckets that you seek to achieve long term? And what are the habits that you could do in order to start to achieve those, right? What are the actions that you need to take in order to achieve those? If our goals are just a result of the actions that we take and the relationships that we build, then we start to build the right habits, and then we look up and we understand that we are the sum of the 5 people that we spend the most time with, right? And so that can actually, doesn't have to be like one-on-one, face-to-face physical time. That might be books, right? You may choose to spend a lot of time with John Maxwell through leadership books. There's tons of books that he has, right? Or you may choose to spend a lot of time in podcasts or in webinars or in seminars. Some people's mentors are not even alive anymore, right? You can go back and read their books and their memoirs and things like that. So I want you to think about it as your goal setting for next year and beyond. Think about 5 years out. Think about ultimately, where do you want to be in the grand scheme of this journey? And then let's start to build the actions that are necessary in order to be that person. And let's start to build the relationships of who we need to know and who we need to be in conversation with in order to become that person, right? Because if it's been put on your heart to grow to that and to be that, then you owe it to yourself to seek that out and to understand it. And what you start to put into writing and start to manifest, it's just really cool how the world around you will support that and start giving you signs and clues on what you might need to do. So guys, we've got some events coming up on October 26th from 12:30 to 4:30. We will be in the Hendersonville Market Center actually doing the grind work to set our goals up. And I call it grind work. It's a lot of fun, right? It's nice to start to put a plan together to understand that 2022 is almost here, guys. I mean, it's middle of October. 2022 activities started about 2 weeks ago, but the real actions and the contracts, once we start around the last week in November, those will be for late December, early January, and you want to set your Q1 up to be a success. But again, I don't want you to just think about 2022. I want you to think about the long-term plan of where you're going. I want you to think about the actions that you need to take. What habits do you need to focus on and create? And what relationships do you need to be in? Do you have some toxic relationships that you don't need to be in? Right? Those might be opportunities for you to look up and go, these aren't the relationships that support my goals anymore. And I care more about my goals and where I'm going than letting someone else drag me down. You may have to make those decisions. And again, myself, your team leaders, members of any of our KW family are always here to support you through your journey and through whatever you might need. So October 26th, 12:30 to 4:30 in Hendersonville. We'll also do another business planning clinic November 4th from 12:30 to 4:30 in the Mount Juliet Market Center. So if you can't make one, maybe you can make the other. Trying to structure these around Bold. Don't forget, first step to Bold is October 20th. That is a Wednesday. And so I want to give you these opportunities. There's also a national business planning clinic with some amazing talent. And so you have that option as well. The national one will be really good. That's with Gene Rivers. I was drawing a blank on his name. Gene Rivers doing a national business planning clinic. Guys, Gene Rivers is absolutely phenomenal. If you could make any of them, that is the one I would highly recommend. If you want to get in a room with me face to face, we will also go through some things. And my focus again will be short-term actions to deliver long-term results. I want you to be thinking about the actions that you take and the relationships that you're in, and start to envision where you need to be 5 years from now, where you're going to be. And then let's back it up and let's goal set to the now, right? Let's think about, if I want to be there in 5 years, where do I need to be in 3? If I want to be there in 3, where do I need to be in 1? That helps you get clarity, because if you go out and set goals for 2022, you're going to go hit those goals, and then you're going to hit a ceiling, and you're going to go like, okay, I didn't build the life or the systems. I didn't build the habits or the relationships I needed to get where I needed to go in 5 years or in the future, right? You're going to build the actions and the relationships to get you to your 2022 goals. And that's great, but that's only going to get you there, and a year is going to fly by, and then you're going to be back rebuilding again. So I want you to think out into the future, and let's build some things together. Guys, I'm always here for you. Anything I can do to help, please call me, text me, 615-480-9617. I want to be a resource for you anytime that you might need me. Look forward to seeing you in the Bold Room. Look forward to seeing you. Got some goal setting clinics. And please reach out to myself, your team leader, your ALC, anybody in the Market Center, if we can be a resource for you. Talk to you soon, guys.